reindeer. Looked at his dog, oh my God, a ill reindeer. But then I was ill and the man had a beard and a bag full of goodies, 12 o'clock at night. So I turned my head a second and the man was gone. But he must have dropped his wallet back dead on the lawn. I picked the wallet up and then I took a pause, took out the lights and then it cold said Santa Claus. $1 million in it cold, hundreds of G's. Enough to buy a phony magic car with ease. But I never steal for Santa, cause that ain't right. So I was going home to mail it back to him that night. But when I got home I bugged, cause under the tree was a letter from Santa and the door was for me. It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens, rice and stuffing, macaroni and cheese, and Santa put gifts under Christmas trees. Decorate the house with lights at night. Snow's on the ground, Snow White so bright. In the fireplace is the Yule log. Beneath the mistletoe as we drink eggnog. The rhymes that you hear are the rhymes of carols. Like each and every year we bust Christmas carols.
Yo, come on, let's step. You ain't get the man from last night? Santa, Macy's.
Yo, man, let's go eat, man. I'm starving.
Come on, man. Yo.
Rhyme so loud and proud.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani.
And I'm Danielle.
And every single morning we come to you for some great content that will inspire you and take your relationship to the next level. It's 18 days
I know.
till Christmas.
Still didn't get your list. You better hustle, buddy.
We're on the countdown. I hope you're getting your list ready and, getting your money, stacking those coins so that
And
you can
not
have an amazing
spending
Christmas.
too much.
You don't want to spend too
Let's
much.
not do too much, guys. Enough is enough. We got to know when enough is enough, right?
We do need to know that. We
Yes.
do need to know that. Listen, as you know, this weekend is our last chance weekend. If you have not registered, it is time for you to do what's necessary to join that group. We only have a few slots left. Let me tell you a great story. We got blessed because there was an individual in Washington State who had been watching the work that we do and the impact that we're trying to make in the lives of couples. And this person isn't even married. This person isn't even in a relationship. They're single, but they're inspired by what they're hearing. And they sowed a seed of $1,000 and said, listen, if there are couples that you come across who are in need of help, who need to take their relationship to the next level, if there's anything you can do to prevent a divorce, please take this $1,000 seed and gift it to them so that they can get the help that they need. I was blown away.
Same. I was so blessed.
I was like, this is incredible.
And we had just talked a couple shows ago about giving, there was a day last week that was all about giving. And so I was like, find some person to give to, bless somebody. We're blessed to be blessings, and then boom.
And so we want to give that gift away, that $1,000 seed. So if you are interested in the Last Chance Weekend, please, the first one to call, whoever it is, we're not biased to anyone. If you are in need, you don't have all of it, but you have some of it. Take this $1,000 seed and invest it in your marriage and join us this weekend, December the 11th through the 13th. So you can simply go to couplesacademy.org, set up a discovery call. Let's talk about these options. Let's talk about what this weekend is about. It's going to be tremendously impactful because people's lives need to be transformed, and it's just the time to do it. Divorces happen at a rapid rate in December and January every single year. Mm-hmm. Don't fall into that statistic. There's hope for you. Now, listen, we're excited today because we have an amazing couple who's coming on. We have the Matthews. They've written an incredible book called Let's Fight About Money. They have been fighting about money for a long time. I know we've been fighting about money.
Well, haven't we all been fighting about money? I think it's about how we fight for money. Are we fighting against each other or for each other? That makes the big difference, and we can't wait to talk to them today and share what they have, all the goodness they have for us today. But first, I just want to say hello to some people. Thank you guys for joining us. Danae, Calvin Hay, Anthony, Vashawn, Michelle, Lakeisha, Kiera, Virtue, Torre, and LaShawn. Thank you guys for being the early risers and responders and getting on here first. Remember, like, share, and subscribe if you're still not getting a notification, and I know y'all are. But tell somebody else, hit the bell. We want to see you every single day. But today, guys, we're so excited to be talking about money wars, how to create financial peace in your home. Join us now.
Right back. All right, guys, we are here. We're excited because we've been waiting for this. We happen to have with us Martin and Chelsea Matthews. They are financial experts.
Yes.
We've been following them for quite some time. Not only are they experts, but they're amazing personalities. They have an amazing website where you can find out more about them. They have incredible videos. We even have gone to them for some of our financial instruments because of the level of expertise that they bring. And so we said, why don't we have a conversation and bring them on and talk about money? Because many people are talking about money because it's one of the things that couples fight about. When you think about the 5 stressors in a relationship, it is communication, sex, finances, parenting, and in-laws, money being one of them. So without any further ado, Martin and Chelsea Matthews, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning,
Good
guys.
morning. Thank
How
you
are
so
you?
much for having us.
We're doing great. It's good to have you guys on the show today. Let's dive right into the topic. As you know, finances is a main stressor that people have been struggling with all throughout the course of their relationships. And what are some of the challenges, the common challenges that you come across as couples sit across your desk?
Well, the common challenges is them being on 2 different pages. And an example of this we talk about in our book is something called money personalities. Money personalities is how a person handles money. What's their viewpoint on how to handle money? So I grew up being a spender. Chelsea grew up being a saver. So we had to clash there where we got married, where I wanted to spend to maybe even grow our business or do certain things. And Chelsea's a little bit more cautious. You know, she's like, well, I don't know if we want to do that and this other thing. So that started to create some conflict. So we see that when people come to us, the viewpoint a lot of them have is they just have different views on how to handle and deal with money from opposing points of view that way.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. I have a question for you. You know, one of the challenges that we face when we deal with couples is this whole notion of what's mine, what's yours versus what's ours. You know, I read a book some time ago. It was called One Bedroom, One Bank Account. And it talks about being in financial alignment with your spouse. And I you know, when we counsel couples, overwhelmingly, a lot of them live a Dutch life.
Right.
He's got his money, she's got hers. He's got his debt, she's got hers.
Right. And I'm always curious about, is that a good way to manage money for anyone? Because you have different point of views on that. The splitting of bills. And listen, as long as you pay these bills and I pay those bills are paid, you can do whatever else you want with your money. What is your thought on splitting and going Dutch?
Well, I think that each couple has to decide what works best for them. And in being in the financial industry, we work with a lot of couples, and there's some couples who combine their money. There's some couples that keep their money completely separate. And it really is something that they have to have a conversation about and come to an agreement and get on the same page about. For us personally, we definitely combine our finances. And because we have our business together, we have our life together, I couldn't really imagine it any other way, because we do so much together. And so for me personally, I think that when you're in a relationship, you get on the same page with having the same goals, same financial goals, and you really have to know what's going on with each other and with your finances and set those goals together. And so for me, having your finances together is really a sign of trust and working together. But some couples do like keeping their money separate and kind of having their own money. And I think that's okay as long as it doesn't come down to a trust issue because they don't trust each other and because, you know, maybe some past experiences that they have their money separate or they can't get on the same page. So when it comes down to because a deeper issue, they keep their money separate, then that's where the trouble comes in. But if it's just what works best for them, then that's okay.
But that's a great point. But what we have found is that for the most of them, it is a trust issue.
It is.
Major trust issues which cause them to live separately inside their home. And that's one of the challenges that shows up.
And what I've heard many times is like, we can't build, right? We can't build a financial future because I don't know what's in his pocket. He doesn't know what's in my pocket. They're just paying bills and they have their own savings and they don't know what their savings are their best. And I agree with the whole concept of do what works, but it needs to work, right? And secrecy doesn't work. Is there any best practices for those who do it that way, where they do the split thing for them also to build for a financial future?
Well, I'm a little bit harsher than Chelsea is on that particular subject because I don't believe that it should be all separate. I think when you have it separate, there's some issue there you're not confronting or not willing to confront. So you think it's in some ways an avoidance. Now, if somebody's like newly getting together, they've been only together for a few months, okay, so they're not really joint. But if they're married or been together for a long time, look, you guys got to confront that as a thing. And I believe that, and that's some of the things we help people on to get to confront it, to have it be where they're having things jointly and have that trust built up. The way I see that people can handle that is they can take baby steps by, adding somebody to the account as a joint account, still kind of keeping control of the account, but adding somebody on it as a joint account. That's a little step that they can take. And maybe if don't really trust them because maybe they're a spender and you think they're going to spend the money, you're not used to having somebody in your account. Okay, don't give them the debit card, right? That's a step that you can take. Add them to the account. Don't give them the debit card. So, but that itself, I don't really like because that's still signaling I don't fully trust you. I think they really need to confront this and get to a point of comfort and trust with each other where they can be on the account comfortably and not have it be an issue.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that advice. Thank you for that.
It's so powerful because we have Lakeisha who said, wow, this has got to be God. I certainly prayed about this topic this morning. See how look at God. Listen to answered prayers. And this is real. This is a real issue that many people are dealing with. And so one of the other topics happens to be what?
Well, the next thing we had questions about is debt, right? Right now in this season, we're talking about debt because we're going into debt. We're spending all this money on Christmas gifts. A lot of us, because of the economy, have taken out these, the EIDL loans, right? So people have these stimulus checks that they were getting and all of that. All of this stuff has to get paid back. So people are going into debt left and right because of the economy, because of COVID, because of all these things. What can you say to speak to people about getting a handle on all this debt, on the heels of Christmas coming on? What can you say to people to help them get this under control?
Okay, so first of all, when it comes to debt is a very emotional topic, and people have a lot of embarrassment and a lot of guilt when it comes to debt. But really the thing that we want to stress when it comes to debt is understanding the difference between good debt and bad debt. And good debt basically puts money in your pocket. So that's things like if you are having maybe cash flowing properties, or you're investing in your business and you're growing and expanding. Bad debt is more of the consumer debt, takes money out of your pocket. And so those are the things, especially around the holidays, that people do want to get a handle on and not be taking on a whole lot of consumer debt. And so we have a few things, especially me being the saver, is I do like to get a handle on setting a budget and being organized. And so when it comes to the holidays specifically, some things that people can do is, for one, decide on a budget, like how much do they want to spend, and focus on really not taking on more debt. Focus on what do you have coming in, or what do you already have set aside that you can use. And then you can also look at some other ways that you can celebrate the holidays, like maybe some ways that you can help people or do some things for people, not necessarily always having to spend. One thing that we told our son, our 15-year-old son, when he's putting his Christmas Christmas list together, which gets bigger and bigger every year and more expensive every year. So we gave him a challenge and said, okay, every single item that you put on your Christmas list, I want you to also put something on your list that you could either do for somebody else or give to somebody else. So really kind of getting in the spirit of giving more than receiving, and really remembering what this holiday season means to you and your family.
Powerful, powerful. Listen, let me jump into this area because we find this to be a challenge oftentimes, and that's the differences in personalities. Now, think about it. Men and women are different in general, so there's the challenges of that. But outside of just the gender differences, people have different personality styles, particularly as it relates to how they manage their money. So some are savers, some are spenders. And so some have different priorities in terms of what needs to be done with the money. And oftentimes that causes a whole lot of friction and conflict, and it keeps couples at a standstill. How do you, I guess, counsel couples about how to blend their personalities, which are oftentimes different, without it causing a conflict, but how does it complement one another when they recognize these differences?
Good.
Well, you start by finding agreement. So where you have, because when people have two different views on something, they don't have enough reality with each other. One person sees it, I want to spend this money on something. Other person sees it as a saver. Somebody starts lecturing the other person. So they have a disagreement. When you have disagreement, communication drops. When communication drops, affinity, wanting to be around each other drops. Why? Because there's a conflict that's unhandled. So we look for where they have agreement. When you start figuring out where they have agreement, and by agreement, I mean, what do they want to achieve together in the area of the finances? Number one, they probably want to make sure there's sufficient cash flow to make sure that they can pay their expenses and not have to be too stressed about money. Or they want to make sure that the family's financially protected in case something happens to one person or the other. Or they want to be financially free and build a business together. Whatever it is, we find, okay, what do you guys agree on? And that's the agreement. That means they have reality on that. Once you increase their reality and agreement, then we start to communicate about that which they agree on. Then they start to become, the affinity level goes up for each other, because now we're talking about the agreements versus the disagreements. Once we start to clear up getting on a page, hey, this is what we agree on. This is where we want to go. These are the things we want to do. Okay, let's focus on those things. Then some of the other stuff fades into the background and become minor. And it's like, you know what? I think I can figure out how we can still save and still have some fun at the same time. So it comes down to starting with the agreements that they have, that the areas where they agree on already.
And I love that. Hassani and I are always talking about the power of agreement.
Yes.
Is literally the launching pad for everything else in your life. And unfortunately, many folks just say, well, we'll agree to disagree. I don't know when that became a thing. It should have never been a thing in marriage. But for some reason, some people would rather settle in disagreement than find a meeting of the minds. So I think it's powerful. Another scenario that comes up for couples is this whole power play, when one of the spouses actually is the income earner and maybe the other one isn't. Maybe the other one is the home keeper, or maybe one of these partners makes more money than the other, or receives some big inheritance or something like that, where they feel like since they're the earner, the big earner, they get to dictate the finances. Do you encounter that with couples? And what would you say to a couple who is in that scenario?
Yes, we do encounter couples where one handles the money or one is the breadwinner, and it really does come down to communication and understanding each role, and also, deciding on and agreeing on what your roles are in the home, and if you have a business together or one works and the other one doesn't. And it really comes down to communication, appreciating and understanding what impact and contribution that each partner brings to the relationship financially, and the rest of the family. And so whether one handles the money, whether one makes the money, it's very, very important for them to both communicate and both have a say and an influence in what happens with the money. And so you want to handle this one?
Yeah,
I just lost my train of thought.
Well,
You're flowing good, Chelsea.
there you go.
So good, and then I just lost it.
What I'll add on top of that is if you're the income earner, sometimes that's an issue around control, right? So if you're the income earner, you're the one bringing in the money. The homemaker, let's say one person's the homemaker, and so they're at home running the household. First of all, you got to acknowledge that what they do, taking care of the kids, is a full-time job by itself. They just may not be getting paid hourly or salary for it, but it allows the other partner to go into the workforce and not have the attention on the kids at home, all those things going on. So like Chelsea talked about the appreciation, that's very important. The other thing is being open and discussing with your partner the finances. Chelsea and I every week do a cash flow. We do a cash flow meeting. We meet about our cash flow in our household and business, right? And so by us getting together, understanding where things are at, what kinds of expenses we have coming up, things like that, that gets us on the same page and both people know what's going on. It's when people hide things or either aren't very transparent with showing all of the finances to the other partner, it creates a gap. It creates either a knowledge gap or it just creates a gap of the person insecurity, not knowing what's there or what's going on. And I think the more somebody shows it to the other partner, even if they are the income earner, how the other partner understand what's going on, that makes a big difference in the relationship.
Thank you. The rest of what I was thinking of and made it into words.
But you just hit on something in terms of children, and that's another big thing when it comes to finances. You know, there's a book called Love Busters, and it talks about the many things that destroy romantic love. And one of the things it says, sometimes having children, because the focus goes from being husband and wife to mommy and daddy. But in addition to that, it's also a huge financial responsibility. I know that according to statistics, the average child from the time they're born to the time they're 18 is approximately like $250,000 it costs per child. So you're dealing with everything from food and clothing, shelter, extracurricular activities, proms, buying car, all types of things. And so that can have an impact on finances. Do you find that couples really struggle financially when it comes to how they begin to deal with what's, the financial responsibilities of having children and how that leans on all the other existing expenses that they have? How do you help couples work through that?
So I think just like any financial decisions, it comes down to their money personality and what they believe and think that should be done with the money. And so a lot of times parents have different ideas of what that means in handling children and any other financial decision. So it really does come down to communicating and coming to an understanding and getting on the same page. Like Martin talked about with the money personalities and him being a spender and me being a saver, that really communicated in every sense of our financial decisions along with our son. And so until we could understand what our money personalities were, there was this conflict because I always had a sense that I wanted to save and hold on to the money. He always had a sense he wanted to spend and grow and expand. And so until we could identify that about each other, we kept making each other wrong. Like I kept thinking when he wanted to spend, he was threatening our financial security. And when I didn't want to spend, he felt like I was trying to control him. And so once we started communicating about that and understanding that we have the same financial goals, where we want to go in our relationship and our business, then when he wanted to spend, then I could think, okay, I know that we both want the same thing. Even though he's wanting to go about it a different way, let me see if I could just hear where he's coming from. And I know that his intentions are good and his intentions want to get us in the same place. And then vice versa, when I would want to save or not spend on something, whether it had to do with, our son or anything else, then he could have that understanding and think, okay, well, is this something that will really help us grow? Is this something that will help our son? Help our business, and is there a more cost-effective way? So by understanding how each other thinks and approaches things, we can communicate in a way that we know our partner will hear and will be more willing to listen to where they're coming from. And so that way, there would be times where I would be scared that he wants to spend, but I would think, okay, I know he has a good intention. Let me just hear him out. And then we can find that understanding, and then we can make a decision together.
I think what you shared is so powerful, and I hope that the audience was able to catch that. You literally talked about becoming bilingual, right? You have your language that you speak and how you feel safe and secure. He has his, and you needed to meet in the middle and learn to speak each other's languages so that you could move forward with joint decision making, which I think is so necessary and so powerful. One of the things that we talk about a lot is financial infidelity, which we know can happen in many, many, many different ways. One way I'd love for you guys to speak on is when it comes to extended family. During the holidays or anytime really, there could be a crisis that happens in a family member's life. Your sister's tires are flat somewhere and she needs $200 to fix her car. Somebody's lights are out, whatever the case may be, or somebody's just, raising money and they want you to be the donor. How do you guys deal with your respective families or situations from either side, friends or whatever, coming to you and asking for money?
So that happens from my side of the family. So I was born in Liberia in West Africa, and so it's very common for people to ask for money a lot from Liberia or West Africa. But Chelsea's not accustomed to that at all. So my family I get hit up for money all the time, even from strangers who live there, who they'll reach out and ask me for money all the time. So a couple of things that we've done as our successful actions. Number one, even though I can make some of these decisions to be able to give this money, I always tell people, hey, I need to speak with Chelsea about this first, and then we'll see what we can do. So even my mother, she'll call and ask me for some money, and then I said, I'll discuss this with Chelsea, and we'll see what we can do. So she now says, okay, Chelsea. I said, I need to be calling Chelsea more. I need to call Chelsea more than you. But it's because I'm training them I'm training them to understand that I will. It's not that I don't want to help you. Is that I need to have this chat with my spouse. Now it doesn't always need to be that way, but I say that often just so I can train them to understand that, hey, there will be a discussion with her. Let her know. Sometimes it's a matter of just telling her, hey, I'm going to send this person some money, but I'm at least letting her know so there aren't surprises when this happens. The other thing that we do is we set money aside for giving. So we take a portion of our income and we put it aside for giving, and it goes into the giving account. So the giving account is there for when those kinds of things happen. We can pull from the giving account and give for those purposes. So that way I don't have to feel guilty if we deplete the giving account and there's not money in that particular giving account. Doesn't mean I don't have money. It just means that the money I have is earmarked for other things.
Right.
And the giving account has been depleted, so now I need to go make more money to replenish the giving account.
That's so good. We have this giving account as well, except for when it's empty. We seem to find some reason to give it anyway. So how do you deal with that? You know, I've heard this before that people say, okay, once the giving account is empty, you tell them it's empty. Not so easy to do, right? When somebody's in crisis. How do you do that? How do you have that conversation that, hey, the giving account is empty, come back next year?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, it's not easy. One time we had to pull from, we have a fund account. It's what we call our fund money, where we can just use for whatever purpose we want to use for. And one point we depleted a giving account, and we pulled some of it from our fund money. So we try to have a little bit less fun, and so that we can give that money to somebody else.
Which was fun.
Yeah, that was fun
And
to be able to
you
do.
mentioned a couple different accounts that we have, and we actually have many different accounts and many different things that we put money aside for. So like giving is one, fun is one, and we even have for holidays. That's another thing that people can start doing, you know, more long term for like next holiday season or birthdays or whatever comes up. So we put a certain amount aside each time that money comes in, so that we have, you know, even for like trips, so that when those things come up, it's not like a big, you know, blow to the cash flow that it has to come out. And also another thing that we do is when there is an opportunity for giving or, you know, something that we want to do, we really take that on as a game and a challenge to be able to go and create more cash flow and more income. Like, we don't like somebody to need help and then the money's not there. And we have a lot of things that we want to be able to do for our own family, for our community, and beyond. And so it's always a challenge for us. Like, if we're not able to do something that we want to be able to do, we're like, hey, instead of, oh, we can't do it, it's like, hey, how can we do it? Let's go create that cash flow to be able to do it.
Wow, that's really
I love
powerful.
the organization that I'm hearing, the different accounts for every single thing. Powerful stuff, guys. I hope you're taking notes.
Yeah, listen. We're going to go to a quick commercial break in just a minute, but we want the Matthews to come back with a final point to wrap up today's episode. I hope you've been getting something out of this. It's been tremendously a blessing to us. We sure it's been a blessing to you as well. Be right back to this quick commercial break. All right, guys, we're back. Listen, all the links are in the description below. If you want to take advantage of those products, if you want to sign up for a discovery call, if you want to just go straight into that last chance weekend, just click the links in the description and it'll be available for you. But listen, we've been listening to the Matthews. They are experts. They are financial whizzes. They are the people that we go to for our financial products as well. So give us a last tip. And then please end by just telling them how they can find out more about you, where they can follow you, where they can find out more about your services. Hit us.
So I want to say for any couples out there that are struggling, with financial conflict, is that there is hope. As long as you guys want to make it work and want to get on the same page and are willing to do the work, then you absolutely can. And you guys don't have to always see eye to eye. I won't say agree to disagree, but really in our book, Let's Fight About Money, we help couples communicate about money, handle conflict, and build an unbreakable financial house so that really you can go from fighting each other to fighting for each other. And it all comes down to communication. So if you're willing to do the work and you want to make it work, then you absolutely can get on the same page. And your differences can actually be assets in your relationship, because us being saver, spender, now he has helped me to grow and expand some of my fears with spending money. And he has, been able to look at things in a different way. And so it's actually become an asset. So I just want to encourage all of you out there that you could go from fighting each other to fighting for each other, and we can help you do that.
Wow. What powerful way to end today's episode. Listen, you can find out more about them. The link, we'll put the link to their website, but you've seen it on the screen. They're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to do a part 2 that we're really excited about. And we want to give you the opportunity to ask your questions. You know how on Friday we have Q&A? Well, tomorrow is your financial Q&A. So please come prepared with your questions. The Matthews will be with us. We're excited that they had an opportunity to join us. Listen, Christmas is just a few days away. You need to get your finances together so that season does not wipe you out.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we love you very much, and we will see you in the morning.
Bye, guys.
Talk to you later.